In order to answer your questions, I have two microphones set up, and that is what you're listening to. Microphone 1, AKG C414 XLS. Microphone 2, Austrian Audio OC818 or 818 or 810 plus 8. Both are on cardioid polar pattern. Both have no filters and no pads engaged, and both are running into the Focusrite 18i20 2nd Gen. 414 is set at about 245 or 3 on the gain, and the C414 is 3 or 315 on the gain dial. Your first question is, can you hear the slightly higher self-noise of the OC818 when compared to the C414 XLS? For reference, the C414 has a self-noise of 6 dBA, the OC818 has a self-noise of 9 dBA. So to answer your question, I will shut up and let you hear the self-noise or the noise floor of the 414 and the 818, and you determine if you can hear the difference or if the ambient noise of the room is so loud that the difference of 3 dBA in the self-noise is negligible. Did I give away the answer? Here are the sound samples. Getting loud in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're back at the regular volume, and what did you hear? Did you hear a difference in the self-noise, in the hiss, in the background of the recording, or was the air conditioning units around here and the ambient noise of the room so much louder in comparison to the self-noise that 3 dBA difference was negligible? In order to hear it better, I am going to play you those exact same samples, but boost the audio 24 dB in post, so let's hear that now. Again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go. Those are the samples I'm going to provide you to help you determine if the 3 dBA difference really is a big deal, or if the air conditioners that are nearby and just the general ambient sound in your room, the traffic noise outdoor, is going to be the more noticeable noise that you can focus on attenuating in your recordings. Then you ask a second question: why would I pick the Austrian Audio OC818 over the AKG 400 plus 10 plus 4? There are a number of reasons for that, a number of features that the Austrian Audio has that the AKG lack. But first I want to address the pricing of these. You mentioned that the AKG is a bit more affordable, but here in the States, as of the 30th of July 2023, it is the inverse. The C414 XLS is $1,320. Austrian Audio is $1,250. So the AKG is $70 more expensive than the Austrian Audio. Then as far as the features that the AA has that the AKG doesn't, a lot of that stems from the dual capsule output. So you have the XLR port on the bottom and the XLR on the rear. That allows you to capture the front and the rear capsule. You could do a stereo recording, which would be helpful. You could do a mid-side, but it's actually stereo with different sound sources as opposed to a figure 8. I haven't tried that. That would be interesting, actually. But also, since you're outputting both capsules, you can record both of those into your DAW, and using the Austrian Audio plugin, I think it's called Polar Pattern Designer, you can adjust the polar pattern in post. So if you record in cardioid, it doesn't matter because you're outputting both capsules. You can change that to omni, to figure 8, to supercardioid, to hypercardioid, whatever you want. And then it gets even crazier because you have the ability to adjust the polar pattern of frequency ranges in that plugin. You could have omni in the bass frequencies to avoid proximity, then have a supercardioid in the mids to get it really directional, and then you could do a standard cardioid in the treble frequencies. Whatever you want, you have that functionality. The AKG 414 doesn't have any of that. Single XLR output with the polar pattern set on the microphone. And the final feature for the AA is a Bluetooth controller that does take up the mini XLR output on the rear, but if you have these microphones set up high in a room to function as room microphones, you can control the polar pattern, the pad, the filter through a Bluetooth app on your phone and not be required to go grab a ladder, get up there, and change it on the mic. And the final reason why you would pick the Austrian Audio OC818 over the 414 is probably the most important if you just like how it sounds over the C414. I am not able to tell you right now because I am monitoring both of them simultaneously, but if I am remembering correctly, the AKG stuff is a little bit grittier, a little bit less smooth up top. The OC818 is a really sweet sounding microphone. The top end is a little bit softer. It's still detailed, it's still bright, it still captures that information, but it just handles it really well. I am certainly not sweating, I am just moping and concerned because the battery in my camera just died and I don't know if the footage gets saved when that happens, so we'll see what happens because I am not going to re-record. But there you go, those are all the samples that I'm going to give you. That should have given you plenty of time to determine if the 3 dBA delta in self-noise is really going to make a difference for you. I will have been switching back and forth between the AKG and the Austrian Audio this entire time, so you can also hear which one you like the sound of best. That is going to differ from voice to voice as well, but hopefully there was some useful information in there, and hopefully that helped you make a more informed purchasing decision.